everyone. We're going to discuss today a lesson that hits the standard for ESS1. This is fourth grade Earth and Space Sciences. Identifying evidence from patterns in rock formations and fossils in rock layers to support an explanation for changes in a landscape over time. This lesson's not really going to talk about fossils. It's more focused on rocks and identifying rocks and what different patterns in these rocks tell students about how they were made and where they come from. So for this lesson, we are going to have students bring in a bunch of rocks from around their neighborhood. It shouldn't really come from just their house or their backyard. Students should try to venture out, maybe go to a park, or maybe there's a stream or a brook nearby that they can collect some rocks from. Obviously, again, students need to be safe. I would probably discuss some safety precautions that students should take when collecting their rocks. So after students bring in their rocks, they're going to identify their rocks as one of the three major types of rock: metamorphic, igneous, and sedimentary. So they're going to list the quantity of rocks that they have for each type and the general characteristics that all the rocks share within their major type. So students are going to analyze this data. This kind of brings in the math cross-discipline with organizing information and data within a chart. So they're going to use this data to see, all of these rocks, or most of these rocks, are sedimentary. How are sedimentary rocks formed? Water. Maybe my neighborhood was once completely underwater. So students are going to have to analyze their data, determine which is the majority of the rocks that they've collected and what that says about their neighborhood, the landscape in their neighborhood, and maybe even what the landscape looked like many, many years ago. After students have collected all that data and have come to they've developed their hypotheses, they are going to make a comic strip about one of their rocks. This is going to incorporate ELA, English Language Arts. They're going to have to give their rock a character, and they're going to highlight how the rock, their character, was made and how it could change over time. So say, again, a student found that most of their rocks were sedimentary rocks. They will introduce the character, how it was made, and maybe talk about how, in like the second part of their comic strip, how today this is what the neighborhood where I live looks like, but Mr. Rubble here, my rock, we're just pretending that the student named him Mr. Rubble. He's a sedimentary rock, and that tells me that many, many years ago, maybe there was a stream or a lake, or maybe my neighborhood was completely underwater. Students can get as creative with this as they want, but as accurate as they can be. Obviously, you're not going to have a metamorphic rock and say, my town was underwater. It has to be pertinent to what they're learning about the rocks, how they're formed, and what the different patterns and characteristics of these rocks tell students about the landscape and how the landscape possibly has changed over time.